Today's video is sponsored by Thrive Market. Over the last year or so, I have talked about my ostomy output kind of being very loose and very frequent. I don't even know how many times. It's clearly had a really big impact on me. So in today's video, I wanted to give you a look at what my diet looks like throughout the day and how food has really helped me manage my ostomy output quite a bit. Hey guys, it's Maggie and I am back today, and today I am going to talk about my ostomy yet again. I love my ostomy. It has given me so much relief with my Crohn's disease, but stomas can be a little temperamental sometimes, especially if you have an ileostomy. The best way that I can describe it is that things go through me very fast sometimes. I don't have a colon anymore to help slow down my digestion. Those who have followed for quite a while know I've had my ostomy a number of years, almost 14. And it's really been the last year that has been so unpredictable with my output. Working with a GI though, and a dietitian, and doing some research on my own, I found different ways with my diet that I can help manage it and at least reduce the symptoms a little bit of kind of a high output ostomy. When I say that my output is crazy, I don't like to get too descriptive, but sometimes I just don't digest food and it comes out the way it went in. And then my intestines, I don't know if they're trying to help or what, but they should stop. It seems like they pull a lot of fluid into the intestines to help flush the food out. And so I will lose water pretty quickly. I haven't been able to pinpoint an exact food that seems to trigger this response, but I do know food groups that this seems to be more likely to happen with. And sometimes people will just avoid those foods completely, but I personally believe that you should enjoy your food and you should eat what you want. And so I don't want to eliminate those foods completely. They're important too. So I have found ways to manage with other foods and kind of combining together to be able to digest it a little bit more. While I have used medications before at the direction of my doctor, always make sure you're talking to your doctor before you start anything. I find them not super effective, especially if I'm already in the cycle of my output picking up. Like, it's almost too late at that point. My ostomy will fill very quickly. I will, of course, go empty it, and within 20 minutes, it will be full again. And not only is that concerning, hydration-wise, I'm losing a lot of liquid in my body, a lot of fluid, but also it's just annoying having to empty my ostomy bag that frequently, and it's exhausting. I mean, I really feel worn out. Imagine somebody with a colon, you got your whole setup, and you're having to run to the bathroom with diarrhea. It's the same feeling, I just don't have to sit in the bathroom anymore to do it. In these moments, my number one priority, of course, is hydration. That's what I'm worried about most. So how can I replace the fluids that I'm losing so fast? But also, what foods can I use to also help slow down the bowel and absorb the fluid that I'm drinking to replace what I've lost? I found a number of certain foods that really help me do this and also help me feel better. That brings me to today's sponsor, Thrive Market. There are a number of items that I like to keep on hand in the house for when things get a little crazy with my ostomy, my symptoms pick up, but sometimes these items are a little bit expensive, and sometimes getting to the grocery store for me is just not an option. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store that guarantees savings. You will make back your annual membership in savings, and if you don't, they will credit you the difference. They offer a month-to-month subscription at $12 a month, or for an annual subscription, it winds up being $5 a month. Both of these items are things that I've consumed a lot of recently, and they were a heck of a lot cheaper on Thrive Market than when I go to the grocery store. And I love that they're delivered right to my door, so I'm not running through the grocery store looking for a bathroom. Finding things that work for my ostomy on their site was a breeze too. You can filter by diet and lifestyle, making it really simple to find the stuff that you love. Not to mention that with everything I got, I saved $77.28. I know. Thrive Market is now offering 30% off your first order, plus a free gift that's worth up to $60. This is what I chose. I thought I would get something for Zach. Ugh. Make sure to click the link in the description or go to thrivemarket.com/LetsTalkIBD to get 30% off your first order. Thank you to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video. Now let's take a look at what my diet looks like throughout the day. I have found that by implementing certain foods, I can help either prevent or slow down, if it's already happening, fast ostomy output. And I just want to give the disclaimer here, what works for me may not work for you. This is to spark some ideas for different foods that you might be able to try. But yes, what works for me may not work for you. One of the things that my dietitian is helping me do, and that I've learned to be really effective, is implementing soluble fiber into each meal every day. And I always have the most success if I start this at breakfast time. If I'm eating a soluble fiber, it really sets me up for the day to keep things in check. Now, I am not a big breakfast person, so typically I have my breakfast a little bit later. I start eating later in the day just because I'm nauseated in the morning. But my go-to is oatmeal. Oatmeal seems to do the trick. Now, I think like anybody, I don't like plain oatmeal. It's weird and slimy and gross. But what I do like to do is I will add some syrup to it, or I will add some berries to it. That makes it taste really good. I found this really cool syrup though that is blueberry infused at Thrive Market, so I had to try that out. And all I do is I get about half a cup of oats into a bowl, a microwave safe bowl, and then I will add water just to the top of where the oats sit. I don't measure anything. That's kind of how I determine how much water I need. And then I will add in the syrup, or I'll add in the berries or the berry infused syrup on top of it, stick it in the microwave for 2 minutes on high, and afterwards, when I pull it out, a little boost that I have found is using some fiber. I mix in about a tablespoon of this fiber, and it makes it a little bit thicker, but it's still good. It's tasteless, it's just thicker. And that, I've tried that a few days, that really seems to keep me in check. Like, that fiber was the extra boost I needed on top of the oatmeal already being really great to keep your bowels slower. Now for lunch, you know I love my turkey sandwiches, but turkey and meat in general can kind of go either way for me. Sometimes I am totally fine. Sometimes it really speeds things up. So I have found that if I want to eat something like that, if I want to eat turkey, don't do it alone. This is easy, of course, because with the turkey sandwich comes some sourdough bread. That's my favorite bread. And bread really helps to slow me down. The sourdough bread, slice of tomato, little bit of mayo, maybe a little bit of red wine vinegar. So good, so good. And sometimes when my ostomy is kind of misbehaving, I will just eat some bread by itself, like a slice of bread, and that really helps. If you are a fellow patient though, you may know that even making a sandwich can be sometimes not attainable. Like, sometimes you just don't have the strength, you're just worn out, and you need something quick and easy. That's why I wanted to pick these guys up from Thrive Market. I thought they were a really easy way to have kind of a quick meal that included that fiber I need. But in all reality, we know that Zach is going to steal these from me before I ever get a chance to eat them, so maybe I will eat them today. When it comes to snacks, I am a big snacker, big believer in little meals more frequently, and one of my favorite things is granola bars. I found these guys at the grocery store, gosh, I don't know how long ago. Then I saw that Thrive had them, and they were cheaper, so I was like, sweet, more convenient, cool. I've been eating these for a while though, and they really work out with my ostomy. They're the perfect chewiness. Really like salty snacks. I am not a huge sweets person, as I just talk about the granola bars. They're not super sweet. But I really like my salty snacks, and some of these that I got from Thrive are right up my alley. Things like veggie chips, though, I get all the time. They are such a satisfying snack. But also, the salt on them helps me replace some of the electrolytes I lose in my output. And I actually find that hydrating at the same time as eating the salty snacks proves to be more efficient. Seems to stay with me longer. Speaking of hydrating, you know I'm an electrolyte girl, okay? How often have I mentioned my little electrolyte supplements, my powders, the tablets, whatever? But more recently, I was advised to maybe focus on things that had a little bit more nutritional value in them to get a bit more out of it. So I have been drinking bone broth. Has a lot of protein in it too, which has helped me, especially with weight gain, which I'll talk about in a second. But I'm actually really looking forward to the cooler weather because sipping on a mug of bone broth, I didn't realize how pleasant that was. I really enjoy it. Taking a look at dinner, like I said, weight gain for me is something that has been difficult basically since diagnosis with Crohn's. And over the last year, I have gained 10 pounds. I am very happy about it. My doctor's happy about it. It's a very positive thing for me. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I was pescatarian for 8 years. And while I tried my hardest, I definitely wasn't getting the amount of protein I probably should have. And in the last year, I went back to eating meat, and it has made a huge difference. I am getting the amount of protein that I should be per day. And most nights now, I do try to implement some sort of meat into dinner. And this might also make sense too. I think the meat that I have the most trouble with is fish. And when you're pescatarian, that's what you're eating. Salmon is on tonight's menu though. And I like salmon. I enjoy it. But how do I make it work when I know that my ostomy is just it's gonna speed up once I start eating it? So I will eat a few different sides that I know work to help slow me down. Winter squash is my number one thing. Winter squash is the thing that will always slow me down alongside sweet potatoes, which a butternut squash and a sweet potato kind of give me the same flavor and texture, so they're very similar. But both of those work really well, and I love a side of just like a little bit of butter on it, maybe a little bit of sugar on it, bake it in the oven for a bit. So I am adding that to tonight's dinner of salmon. And then another thing that works well to, give me that source of fiber and slow me down is broccoli. If you've got a stoma though, if you've had a lot of abdominal surgery, maybe you've dealt with blockages before. I know I have, and I have given myself blockages with broccoli. So I have to be careful. I have to make sure it's, cooked properly or maybe in a different form. So when I saw this riced broccoli, I really wanted to try it. So I'm putting that on the side with my salmon tonight. And these are gonna help keep the salmon with me, get the nutrients out of it. And if I feel like these two on the side of my salmon is not enough, I'm going to eat a piece of bread. In fact, I may do that anyway. I might eat just a slice of sourdough bread before I eat the whole meal. And usually all of this works pretty good. So this is kind of what a day of eating looks like for me. No, it's not perfect. It is not a foolproof plan, and I have other ways that I try to manage the output, but I would say that some of the diet changes and some of the foods that I'm choosing have been the most successful. Like I said, medications, once it started, I can't get anything to stop it until basically there is nothing left in me. I know that if you're just starting off with your ostomy, or maybe you've got other symptoms that are speeding things up, it can be very overwhelming learning what works for you. So, start slow, don't overwhelm yourself with too many new food items, and really keep in mind that you should be enjoying your food. I think that's my number one rule. Thank you again to Thrive Market for sponsoring this video and providing me food that really helps me quite a bit with my ostomy. Make sure to get 30% off of your first order by clicking the link in the description or going to thrivemarket.com/letstalkibd. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye guys.